Hello,
Yes, sir, you are audible.
am I audible? Okay.
Yes, yes.
So, good evening, and I must appreciate your kindness to get me on line today for this interesting topic. I would start this presentation with showing you a device which is used for support expression. For that, I would use camera on my phone. Presently, can you see my presentation? Is my screen seen by all of you? So, I'm Dr. Satish Deopujari, and the best introduction that I can give you is a good friend to all of you. Apart from this, I happen to be a pediatrician with an interest in technology, and this is kind of passion that I had right almost. I started my clinical practice. And what happened is, while we were practicing, I realized that somehow there's a big gap in technology, and what is taught in our books is most often not available in our country. One good thing is this gap is narrowing over a period of time. And about 25 years back, when I would go to US, I would see that most of the technologies which were available there were not available in our country. But today, I must tell you, the gap still exists, but is much narrow, and there are so many areas where we are better than colleagues across the developed world. So now let me go on to, can you see the screen now? First of all, let me thank Anjuman College of Technology and Engineering for inviting me here for today's presentation. And in fact, okay, now uh, what basically I'm going to go through is the areas wherein I got involved in getting the technology as applicable to our country. What happens most often is that we borrow technology from the developed world and never look into the fact, is it relevant to my country? And this has always been an issue for ages. In fact, one of the great authors, an American author settled in Africa, wrote a book on priorities in developing country. And the introducing paragraph very clearly mentioned that the best way to poison a developing country is to introduce foreign system of medicine in that country. And that is what has happened, countries in and around India. It's time that we should develop relevant technologies. So, hello,
Hello. Yes, sir. You're audible.
Yes.
can you see now?
Yes, yes, sir. The slides are also visible, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir. The slides are also visible, sir.
Everything is visible.
Yeah. So, push the second. So, you know what? Reaching technology where it matters most is an art, and it should be in time. Now, I must acknowledge our group of individual devices, which includes me, Mr. Mukund Deshmukh, Mr. Shashi Chaudhary, and Latesh Agrawal. This is a non profit making and non commercial venture to develop related technology in our country. Now, when it comes to creating something, we are students of some issues, but not basically students of some problems. But the problem is not defined by a particular hello. The problem is not defined by the fact whether I'm a medical person or whether I'm into civil engineering or in electronics. If one wants to create something, we have to transgress the borders. And for doing this, we have worked on certain issues. I would highlight some of them. Like I created the apps on smartphones, and these are used across the world. In fact, they are the largest used across, they're the largest used apps on critical care, especially patients on ventilators. So, other thing that was recently done by me was an event and a research on a topic called first breath. Large number of babies die at birth in our country, and our mortality in the newborn period is very high, alarmingly high, because partly the technology is lacking. Like, for example, though we often speak of AI, one of our devices which got an acknowledgement and an award in US was a device which is based on a very fundamental principles of engineering, that is creating a water manometric pressure device. I will talk about it once we come to that. But what we must remember is babies require compressed air and not oxygen at birth. In fact, giving oxygen at birth is detrimental. But the present devices, which are used globally, don't look into these areas because compressed air is available in plenty in the developed world. Whereas in our country, unfortunately, you'll be shocked, compressed air is not available where we want. For example, where the baby is getting born, we get compressed oxygen very easily, but not compressed air. And in fact, uh, this can be really injurious. This can be really injurious to the babies. This is a class example as to how we must develop technology which is relevant to our country. Because we don't get compressed air where the babies are getting born. The other part of the world have this source easily available. And giving oxygen at birth without air is detrimental to a lot of tissues in the body. So we worked on this device, which was on a very fundamental principles of water manometry. So IIT Bombay, VNIT Nagpur, they all certified this device and certified it to be very safe, certified it to be a device which needs no calibration and which is very easy to operate. In fact, about 6 months back, We presented this in 5 universities in the United States and in one of the conferences in Virginia, which was labeled as Innovation 24. We were the only Indian participants and we got the first award, essentially on the fact that this is simple and this is relevant to where we are. So you see some pictures of how we were acknowledged. So I'll go through now the apps that we have developed. Now you might ask me, we're talking of devices, but none of the devices is complete without the software, and apps are the background software on which these devices work. So for example, I will just rapidly go through the apps. There are about 16 apps which are used for patients on ventilators. I mean, you can't operate a ventilator without using these apps. And they are a part of a largest soul book across the globe. And all these apps are available free. So now what I've realized when it comes to creating an AI based model is to create an algorithm. And in fact, creating an algorithm is most of the job that can be, I mean, nothing can be complete without creating an algorithm. And you can see here an algorithm that I use in one of my apps on acid base balance. Our life essentially depends on acid base balance. Am I audible and seen?
Yes, sir, you're
Yes,
And you
sir.
audible.
can see one of the algorithms. The other thing is learning Excel was a very, very important point. And in fact, why we could do certain things is we learned this wonderful software and created the database which was essential for creating these apps. You'll be surprised, for newborn resuscitation. There's an app which is used globally, which was created by the American Heart Association. In spite of a repeated requests, and they are accepting those requests, the algorithm could not be created by them. So we have this algorithm which we're using in the app on newborn resuscitation. So our device depends on the verbal commands of these apps. I'm just showing you one of the uh, Excel worksheet. This is a very interesting graph that we generated out of Excel and is one of its kind globally. This makes the app use playable. In fact, most of the doctors are very worried about mathematics, and this part of our care is a huge amount of mathematics. Across the globe, there's a fear of using acid base diagrams, and these making it playable helps it making it easy for the doctors, and that's what we could do um, in these apps. So in fact, I'm just showing you the number of apps which are available today. I've shown you the book which is like the last word in critical care, and this book uses these apps for managing newborn babies. This was about few years back, and you can see the apps are used globally. And we have the world's first app on iWatch. This was inaugurated in John Hopkins. So there's nothing like this across the globe. Uh, what you're seeing now is again the only of its kind app which combines all the parameters of ventilation. In fact, after this is now I showed you the Apple Watch and the point of care. I'm showing the simulators that we have made. So we made a lot of simulators for common academic purpose, and now these are one which we're using for teaching day to day points for lungs and the way they work. But the one which we are developing now is something very interesting. In fact, I showed you this in the earlier screen. So, in fact, this is a simulator which we are in the process of developing. And ठीक है, screen पे आ रहा है? नहीं. And as you can see here, um, actually, Mr. Deshmukh is one of the most brilliant engineers that I know of. Mr. Deshmukh, are you around? He is just too good in technology and mathematics, but he is not one of those who would be happy in presenting. So he told me, Satish, keep me away when it comes to presentations, and I'm sure he is not around. Anyway, you are seeing a simulator which we are building, and this is almost all the parameters of lung functions, and you can see the graphs which get generated out of this, and this is how the machine looks. So we have used a car piston as lung, and as the piston kind of goes away, the volume increases and it behaves like inspiration. But as the piston gets in, this is expiration, that is exhalation. And we are working on it. It is an extremely challenging task. In fact, most of our challenges are not easy to meet in a small city like Nagpur, or for that matter, in our country also. And it's a very tough economical challenge that we go through. But God willing, someday we should be able to make this almost. It is almost complete to the tune of about 90%. And you know what? The simulator that we're trying to kind of develop would cost about 2 or 3 crores. Whereas if this product which is almost there comes out, it would be hardly any cost. If it comes to few crores, it could be easily available for 25, 35 lakhs. But we unfor don't get a support for these kind of things, and we kind of work in silo. But someday I think we should be able to do this. So I must thank Mr. Mukund Deshmukh. He has an industry called Beta Computing who helps us in developing this. So these are certain things. Then we're also working on sensors. One of my most fulfilling research was with Bits Pilani. I was fortunate to be presenting this paper in ASME in Texas. I was the only physician presenting that paper. And at that moment, there were more than about 18, 20,000 engineers. And I had a wonderful time presenting this. It was very well acknowledged. Now, what we have done here is a sensor in the chest, in the place called trachea. You know, see, this is where it is that we have airways. One of the major airway is called as, and when we take air in, it goes through trachea and then divides into left and right bronchus. I always thought that when we put the patient on ventilators, we measure pressures at the machine end, which I don't think is the correct thing to do. And this is acknowledged globally. But we don't have a device which will measure pressure where it matters. And that's right inside the chest where the main airway divides into left and right bronchus. Because that is where the laminar flow changes into turbulent flow. And of course, you're all sure and aware that it is not very difficult to measure pressures when the flow is laminar, but the same thing would become a big mess if the flow is turbulent. And that is where our sensor is put up, is about few microns, barely visible to the eye. And we got a patent on this uh, about 2 years back. I was told that the further work is going on in the Texas Engineering College. So, when these are some fundamental researches. So it took us about 10 years to work on this product. And again, these kind of research needs a lot of funds. Unfortunately, that always a problem in our country. Then I'll just quickly go through the devices that we made. In fact, we made a lot of devices, and this is Dr. Devi Shetty.
Because eventually the heart can fail.
So
Now,
he
for this, we
says,
need left ventricular assist device.
if there is any other group which can make an artificial heart, and I'm happy to say that he says is Dr. Deopujari and his friends. So in fact, we do get some help from Narayan Rudayalaya, but again, everything ends at the bucks because these are all areas not easy to make. An artificial heart would cost near a crore, and that would be a need as we increase with our population and with that with the increasing problems. Then we made India's first oxygen helmet. This was extremely useful during COVID time. This was our research with IIT Bombay, and this was marketed by a company called Inaxel. At that moment, Italians were the only one who were making these kind of helmets. In fact, they stopped exporting them to Americans as well. So this was the first oxygen helmet we made, and this has the flow dynamics studied inside this helmet. So this is where you can use, and you can means we have designed this using some AI tools. But all the same, this is what is extremely necessary in a helmet when you give oxygen at high flows. Because of Bernoulli's effect, there are areas which would create a negative flow zones, and they could actually suck out the air from our lungs. So it's very easy to study and know as to what areas do not have these kind of negative zones. So this was our creation with IIT Bombay, and this was funded by Thermax. Then this was the first non-invasive ventilator in India. We named it as Prana Setu. Prana means life, and Setu means bridge. And we also made world's first skeleton ventilator. As you can see, this is a transparent machine. This is part of a lung museum. It was a big challenge to make a ventilator transparent. The idea was we always thought the technology is not for our few 4 or 5 people. We would make it open to the world. And this was our effort in that direction. Lung Museum is a part of Vanadori Medical College, and I must say I was very fortunate to be funded by Megi Group for making this museum. This is one of its kind in the world, and he funded about more than 1.5 crores to make this museum functional. Unlike other museums where we have models which are not working, Lung Museum, the models are working and they're working flawlessly. Then we made India's first calibrating device because without these kind of devices, we honestly cannot make further research. So this is an augmented reality for our machine Prana Setu. We have a very functionally different way of mixing oxygen and air.
Welcome to the augmented reality experience of Pransetu, a non-invasive ventilator by Satish Medanova. You are witnessing how the state-of-the-art infrastructure of this medical device has been designed to perform and deliver efficient respiratory support. The device runs with two parallel fluid circuits of air and oxygen, which mixes in the Y junction. Both circuits are equipped with respective flow sensors and a safety valve, ensuring the pressure is in the safety band. Pransetu's ventilatory support comes with an internally packaged source of air supply in the form of
I'll give you glimpses of Lung Museum. Lung Museum carries the first negative pressure ventilator. You know, in during Second World War, or a few years before that, ventilators were called as iron lungs, and they were negative pressure ventilators, where the vacuum is created around the chest, and naturally, I'm sure you all know, when you create a vacuum, you seal the whole thing. So, adequate sealing means you have kind of perfectly sealed neck collar, and you are inside the ventilator, which is like an iron drum, and in that you create a negative pressure ventilator, negative pressure, and expand the lung. You'll be surprised. People have survived on this kind of iron lungs for years together. I think one of the survivors died 2 years back, and he was on such a machine for more than something like 40 years. Imagine to be there, fully conscious and aware of what was happening in an iron lung, sealed, the entire body is sealed below the neck in this machine. After that, there was no research on iron lungs. So we created this machine. This has pressure graphics, and when the pressures go down, we can see those changes happening. So this is a part of the museum, and as I've told you, it's really so nice of Sagarji Mege to have contributed more than 1.5 crores for this museum. This is one of its kind globally. And these mods, you're seeing at moment the iron lung been put up there. So this is a negative pressure ventilator, and you can see the graphics. There's nothing like this across the world, which can be called as a a ventilator. Which, and you know, these are the kind of machines which would definitely go up when you enhance them with AI. Of course, while doing this, we did a lot of work for society. A lot of things have been done, but I'm not going to take you all through this. But my most important thing is we all must teach our young students as to what it means to supporting breathing. Because breathing is life. I mean, and you have seen, I believe at any moment of time, about 20% of this world is at war. I only hope we don't go through these kind of things. But if we have to go through some of these things, we have to develop our machines. And though I agree that AI would be a tool to go ahead, I strongly believe some basic fundamental physics principles can be still used to make machines. Like, for example, I must name here this person called Iqbal Ahmed. He is the person in Nagpur in Guinness Book. So I always get things done by Iqbal. I mean, fantastic person. I don't think there's anything that Iqbal cannot do. So even if he is not qualified, he is one person who could be a faculty in any engineering college and must be. He can make things. So in our country, there's so much, and it's not. I mean, they could be enhanced by AI, but yes, so much also can be done by some equal important devices. Like the one that we made was so appreciated in US. In John Hopkins, this was my fourth visit on their invitation, and they were extremely happy with what we did last time. It was a simple device based on water manometry. So, of course, the profound help that I got from US, um, that is a country which will not laugh at you. You could be thinking very weird ideas, but they would definitely take it further and at least give you a kind listening. So these are some the very top people in US who have always been of help to me. Uh, like I have been a regular teacher in Rochester University, and we had a training there for about a week's time in critical care. So this is the award that we got 6 months back in Virginia. As I've told you, imagine the openness of all the participants, most of them Americans. We were the only Indians, and they had the openness and the courage to give us the first award. And you can see Dr. Edward. You can see he's holding a badges of my hospital. So Nelson Hospital. I told Ed, can you wear it on your coat? And he was open to do that. So that's the kind of openness that we have, and that's why I end this talk saying I'm grateful, thankful, and blessed to have friends like you all. We are a wonderful group of people. So I mentor a lot of students from engineering colleges, and we have now about 3 students from second MBBS who will be getting a patent. 2 of them already have got a patent. So by now we have about 8 or 9 patents on various things, and it is possible. I admire our software industry, our technical industry. The software they did for my apps, presently nobody has copied it. So it's something which I really appreciate. I must of kind of end my talk by acknowledging of two legal luminaries. One is Justice Jinwala, who I owe personally so much. He was a judge in case in medical admission when I was a part, like when I was involved. Amazing person. He gave a very blunt and a very good judgment, which changed the entire admission of the country. And Justice Haq, a very good friend to me. So thank you very much for being there. I would like to spend more time. Well, today I could show you the gadgets. Maybe if you have time, I can show, but there were some technical flaws. Anyway, thank you very much, and seriously means a lot to me. So Justice Jinwala and Justice Haq, uh, Justice Jinwala is no more there, uh, but I owe so much to him. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Participants, if you are having any queries, you can kindly put it in the chat box.
Any questions? Hello.
Yes, sir. That's what I'm asking to the
Hello.
participants. That if you, Hello. Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Hello.
Hello. Sir, you are audible, sir.
Hello.
Yes.
You are audible, sir.
Yeah. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
You
sir.
are audible, sir.
Any questions?
Yes, participants, if you're having any queries, you can put it in chat box.
Sir,
Yes, Dr. Manish, please proceed.
sir,
Please ask.
sir, one question I am having, sir. Am I audible?
I'm not able to hear.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Am I audible now, sir?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I don't know. This is full of all glitches. Yeah.
No, sir. Actually, we are blessed to hear you, sir. Sir, I have and the
Uh-huh.
question is like during COVID-19 outbreak,
Yeah.
and COVID-19 is like infection was similar to somewhat or resembles to somewhat influenza or just like
Correct.
pneumonia.
Correct.
Sir, what is or how the diagnosis can be done on the basis of chest X-ray or CT scan? How to differentiate that this pneumonia is a normal pneumonia or casual pneumonia, and this is particularly because of COVID-19. Sir, if you can put some light, then it will be great help.
Correct. So that's a very good question. Now, basically, I'm sure all of us aware that image recognition is increasingly lips and is going up every way. So you know what? One of the studies done in an Australian radiology society, they studied the infiltrates of COVID patients as compared to non-COVID patients. And they realized the distribution of these infiltrates, the density of these infiltrates, and the locations in the lungs were slightly different than others. And when the data kept on accumulating, they could differentiate about 75 to 80% of patients with confidence limits of about 90 that yeah, this was a COVID X-ray. Now this was not 100%, but yeah, it definitely added the flair to separate COVID pneumonias than non-COVID pneumonias.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot, sir.
Any other question? I hope it was not very boring because
Like these many researches you have done, so we were not aware about that. So while hearing it, we're feeling very proud of it, like proud of you, sir, because of you, all these innovations are there. So
thank you.
participants, if you're having any queries, feel free to post your queries in the chat box.
I said I hope it was not very boring because it's not
No,
you
sir,
know, like
no. No, it was not, sir. It was definitely not a boring. It was very informative session.
because it's very interesting. As engineers, you have a different way of looking at things,
Yes, sir.
and you know it took me quite a time to understand how and what you speak. Okay, and so like, but it was quite interesting for me. But I would be very happy to physically come in your institute and show and discuss the devices.
Yes, sir. Definitely, sir. We'll arrange in near future. We'll definitely arrange a session for the students because it will be very helpful for them to come to know about the various different fields in which they can do the research. So our students are working on AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning. So it will be very helpful for them. So we'll definitely arrange one session for them.
Thank you.
So, sir, shall we, Satish, sir, shall we?
Yes, madam, please.
Okay, okay. So, sir, this is on behalf of Anjuman College of Engineering and Technology and Department of Computer Science and Engineering. Our heartfelt thanks to you, sir, for graciously sharing your invaluable insights and expertise with us. Your session was truly enriching, and we are grateful for your time and wisdom, sir. Thank you so very much, sir, for joining with us. And we are sorry that whatever happened, but it was very informative and very nice session.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Thank
sir.
you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
We're also thankful to our principal, Professor Dr. K.S. Zakiuddin sir, and our Honorable Administrator, retired Justice Zaka Haq sir, for supporting and motivating us for all such endeavors. Thank you so much to our management. Now, I request all the participants to please turn on their cameras so that we can take 2 or 3 snapshots for our official purpose. So please turn on your cameras. Manish sir, participants are saying that the camera is deactivated, so please activate it.
Well, already the permission is granted.
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you so much, sir. I once again thanks all the participants and the valuable speakers for their active engagement. We look forward to your continued participation in the upcoming sessions of this FDP. So on behalf of Anjuman College of Engineering and Technology, I once again thank you everyone for being there with us. Wishing you all a wonderful night. So good night, all of you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, all of you. Participants are requested to please fill the feedback form for their attendance for both the sessions. If you have missed, you can get it from the WhatsApp group.